When you think about dangerous animals, what comes to mind first? Maybe a great white shark, circling silently in the deep blue, or a pack of wolves howling under a cold moon. We often picture these creatures as the ultimate threats, thanks to movies and stories. But the truth is, the animals that cause the most harm to humans are often not the ones we expect. Sharks, for example, are responsible for only about 10 human deaths each year. Wolves? Even fewer. It turns out, some of the deadliest animals on the planet are ones you might find surprisingly common, or perhaps just underestimated. Take elephants, for instance. They seem gentle and majestic, but they kill hundreds of people annually. Hippos, with their seemingly docile appearance, are even deadlier, causing more fatalities than any other large animal in Africa. Crocodiles are silent hunters, and their attacks are almost always fatal. And then there are snakes. These slithering reptiles are truly the silent killers of the animal kingdom. They are responsible for an astonishing number of deaths each year, far surpassing all other animals combined. In fact, snakes kill over 100 people globally every single year. That's a staggering number, isn't it? It just goes to show that danger often lurks where you least expect it. Because of this, knowing how to react when faced with a wild animal can be the difference between life and death. This video isn't about scaring you. It's about preparing you. We're going to give you 13 essential tips on how to survive encounters with some of the world's most dangerous creatures. These aren't just random guesses. These are strategies based on animal behavior and expert advice. So, let's dive into our first tip, starting with one of those animals that often gets a bad rap: sharks. Sharks are a prime example of an animal that is widely feared, but often misunderstood. The good news is that out of the hundreds of shark species in our oceans, only a very small number are known to actively attack humans. Most sharks have no interest in us. The bad news? If you do find yourself targeted by one of those few aggressive species, escaping can be incredibly difficult, maybe even impossible. So, prevention is key. If you're in the water, especially in areas known for sharks, avoid having any open wounds, and definitely don't urinate in the ocean. Blood and urine can attract sharks from a surprising distance. Now, if you do encounter a shark, the first rule is simple: do not panic. Thrashing around or making sudden movements can signal to the shark that you are injured prey, which is the last thing you want. Do not turn your back and swim away quickly. Instead, try to maintain eye contact with the shark. Move slowly and deliberately, trying to keep the shark in your sight. If the shark seems to be circling or getting closer, try to make yourself appear as large as possible. If despite your best efforts, a shark does attack you, your only real option is to fight back. Aim for the shark's most sensitive areas, its eyes and gills. Punching or kicking these spots with all your might can sometimes be enough to deter it and give you a chance to escape. Remember, it's a fight for survival, so you need to be aggressive if it comes to that. Now, moving on from the ocean to land, let's talk about another animal you might not expect to be a threat: kangaroos. Most people think of kangaroos as cute, bouncy creatures, but they can be surprisingly dangerous, especially if you provoke them in their territory. They have powerful legs and sharp claws, and they can deliver a serious kick. If you find yourself too close to a kangaroo, or if one seems to be getting aggressive, there are a few things you can do. First, try a brief, quiet cough. This might sound strange, but for a kangaroo, a cough can signal that you're sick or unwell. An ill animal is less of a threat and often avoided. After that, slowly retreat. Try to make yourself appear smaller as you move away. Don't stand tall or try to puff yourself up. This can make you look like a challenge. Most importantly, never turn your back and run. A kangaroo's instinct will be to chase after what it perceives as fleeing prey, and they are incredibly fast. Maintaining a slow, steady retreat while facing them is your best bet. Next up, we have lions. These magnificent predators are at the top of the food chain in their habitats, and encountering one in the wild is a serious situation. If you ever find yourself face to face with a lion, remember these crucial steps. First, maintain eye contact. This shows the lion that you are aware of its presence and that you are not prey. Breaking eye contact can signal weakness or fear, which might encourage an attack. Whatever you do, do not turn your back and run. Like kangaroos, lions will instinctively chase. Second, try to appear as large as possible. Raise your arms above your head, and spread your jacket or stand on a rock if there's one nearby. The goal is to make yourself seem like a bigger, more formidable opponent. Finally, speak loudly and confidently. Yell, shout, make noise. This can confuse the lion. They are used to prey animals being silent and trying to hide. A loud, assertive human might make them think twice about attacking. Your goal is to convince the lion that you are not worth the trouble. Now, let's talk about elephants. These gentle giants are incredibly intelligent and often friendly, but they are also wild animals and can be incredibly dangerous, especially if a mother feels her calves are threatened. An elephant charge is a terrifying sight, and their sheer size means they can cause immense harm. The key to surviving an elephant encounter is to read their body language. If an elephant is feeling threatened and considering a charge, it will often give clear warning signs. Look for a coiled trunk and ears pulled back against its head. These are definite indicators that a charge is imminent. If you see these signs, your first instinct might be to run, but that's the worst thing you can do. An elephant can outrun you easily. Instead, do not run. Your best strategy is to find a barrier. Look for a large rock, a sturdy tree, or anything substantial you can get behind. Elephants are less likely to charge through an obstacle. If you can position yourself behind something solid, you might buy yourself enough time for the elephant to lose interest or for you to slowly move away once the immediate threat has passed. Staying calm and observing their behavior is vital. Staying calm and observing their behavior is vital. Moving on. Let's discuss rhinos. These creatures have famously poor eyesight, which actually makes them quite easily startled and provoked. They often charge at perceived threats before they can clearly identify them. Adding to the danger, rhinos are incredibly fast, capable of reaching speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour. This means that if a rhino decides to charge you, simply outrunning it is almost impossible. Your best bet in a rhino encounter is not to try and outrun it, but to find a substantial obstacle. Look for a very large, sturdy tree, a big rock formation, or anything that can provide a significant physical barrier between you and the charging rhino. Rhinos are powerful, but they don't have good maneuverability at high speeds. If you can quickly get behind something large and solid, the rhino might have trouble navigating around it or lose interest. The key is to act fast and use the environment to your advantage. Don't stand in the open hoping it will change its mind. Find cover immediately. Next, we have hippos. These animals might look deceptively cute and lazy as they lounge in the water, but they are actually one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. They are incredibly territorial and easily irritated, especially if they feel their space is being invaded. And don't let their bulk fool you. Hippos are surprisingly fast runners on land, capable of speeds up to 8 kilometers per hour. That's faster than most humans can sprint. The best prevention for a hippo encounter is to avoid their habitat, especially tall grass near water during hot weather or when water levels are low. This is when they are most likely to be out of the water and less visible. If you find yourself in close proximity to a hippo on land, your strategy is to get vertical. Climb a tree, scramble onto a large rock, or find a steep hill to ascend. Hippos, despite their speed, are not good climbers. Once you're safely elevated, you need to wait it out. They might stand guard for a long time, but eventually, they will likely move on. Do not try to re-engage with them or come down until you are certain they have left the area. Their temper can be unpredictable. Now, let's talk about bulls. Many people think bulls are provoked by the color red, but that's a common misconception. Bulls react to movement, not color. Their vision is not like ours. They are more sensitive to motion. So, if you find yourself in a field with an agitated bull, the worst thing you can do is run around wildly. Instead, your primary strategy should be to stand still and straight. Make yourself appear calm and unthreatening. Avoid sudden movements that could trigger their instinct to charge. If the bull continues to approach or shows signs of aggression, here's a clever trick. Use an item of clothing as a decoy. If you're wearing a jacket, a hat, or even carrying a bag, you can slowly take it off. When the bull gets close, throw the item away from you, in a direction opposite to where you want to go. The bull's attention will likely shift to the moving object, giving you a crucial window of opportunity to slowly and calmly walk away in the other direction. This works because the bull will focus on the movement of the thrown object, giving you a chance to escape its immediate line of sight. Remember, it's about redirecting their attention and not presenting yourself as a direct threat or a fleeing target. Moving on from land animals, let's dive into some threats you might encounter in the water or along the coast. Our next animal is the jellyfish. While not typically thought of as an attack in the same vein as a lion or a bull, a jellyfish sting can be incredibly painful and, in some cases, dangerous. The pain from a jellyfish sting can be persistent and long-lasting, sometimes for hours or even days. One of the biggest myths about jellyfish stings that needs to be debunked right away is the idea of urinating on the sting to relieve the pain. Please, do not do this. It's not effective and can actually make the situation worse by irritating the stinging cells further. If you get stung by a jellyfish, the immediate treatment is crucial. First, you need to wash the affected area. But here's a critical detail. Use salt water, not fresh water. Fresh water can cause the remaining stinging cells on your skin to release more venom, increasing the pain and reaction. So, if you're at the beach, use the ocean water. After rinsing with salt water, the next step is to carefully remove any visible tentacles that might still be clinging to your skin. Do not use your bare hands for this, as you'll likely sting yourself again. Instead, use tweezers, a stick, or even the edge of a credit card to gently scrape them off. Once the tentacles are removed and the area is rinsed, if you have access to it, applying an antihistamine ointment can help reduce the itching and swelling. For more severe reactions, or if you experience symptoms like difficulty breathing, chest pain, or widespread rash, seek immediate medical attention. Some jellyfish species have incredibly potent venom that can be life-threatening. Now let's talk about some of the most formidable predators on Earth, alligators and crocodiles. These ancient reptiles possess the strongest jaws on the planet, capable of delivering an immense crushing force. If you are unlucky enough to be seized by an alligator or crocodile, your best chance of survival is to target their most sensitive area, their eyes. Punch, kick, or poke at their eyes with all your might. This might cause them to release you due to the pain and shock. Remember, this is a desperate measure in a dire situation. If you encounter an alligator or crocodile on land and it's approaching you, your strategy changes. Unlike many other predators, these reptiles are not known for their stamina on land, but they can be surprisingly fast over short distances. The key here is to make as much noise as possible. Yell, shout, stomp your feet. Try to appear large and intimidating. And then run. But don't run in a straight line. Alligators and crocodiles are not built for agile turns on land, so running in a zigzag pattern can make it much harder for them to catch you. This can give you the precious seconds you need to escape. However, if you find yourself in the water with an alligator or crocodile, the rules are different. Your land tactics will not work. In the water, these animals are in their element, incredibly swift and silent. If you see one or suspect one is nearby, do not splash, do not scream, and do not make sudden movements. Splashing and noise can attract their attention and signal distress, making you seem like an easy target. Instead, try to swim away quietly and calmly, keeping your movements as subtle as possible. Your goal is to get out of the water without drawing undue attention to yourself. Remember, their primary hunting strategy in water relies on stealth and surprise. Now, let's move on to snakes, a creature that often inspires fear, sometimes unnecessarily. It's important to remember that most snakes are not dangerous or venomous. Many are harmless, and even the venomous ones usually prefer to avoid humans. In fact, a surprising statistic tells us that about 80% of snake bites occur when people try to capture, handle, or kill them. So, the first rule of snake encounters is simple. Leave them alone. Give them their space, and they'll likely give you yours. If you find yourself walking through an area where snakes might be present, and you suspect one is following you, or you want to scare it away, a useful tactic is to stomp your feet. Snakes don't have ears in the traditional sense, but they are very sensitive to vibrations in the ground. Stomping creates these vibrations, which can confuse the snake and make it want to move away from the source of the disturbance. This can give you a chance to retreat safely. However, if despite your best efforts, you get bitten by a venomous snake, knowing what to do immediately can save your life. First and foremost, do not try to suck the venom out of the wound. This is a common movie trope that is not only ineffective, but can also introduce bacteria into the wound or even allow the venom to enter your system through your mouth. Instead, the priority is to clean the wound. Wash it gently with running water and soap, if available. This helps to remove any surface venom and reduce the risk of infection. After cleaning, if possible, apply a tourniquet a few inches above the bite, between the bite and your heart. This is meant to slow the spread of the venom through your bloodstream. However, be very careful with tourniquets. They should not be too tight, and they should be loosened for a minute or two every 10-15 minutes to prevent tissue damage. The main goal is to slow the venom, not cut off circulation entirely. The most crucial step after a snake bite is to call emergency services immediately. Describe your symptoms and the snake if you saw it, and try to remain as calm as possible. Panicking can increase your heart rate, which can unfortunately speed up the venom's spread. Keep the bitten limb still and below the level of your heart if possible, to further slow the venom. Getting medical attention quickly is your best chance for a full recovery. Finally, let's talk about bears. Bear attacks are relatively rare, but they are certainly possible, especially if you surprise a bear or encounter a mother with cubs. The first rule when encountering a bear is counterintuitive for many. Do not run. Running can trigger a bear's predatory instinct, making you appear like prey. Bears, especially grizzlies, are incredibly fast over short distances, much faster than any human. So, trying to outrun one is a futile and dangerous strategy. Instead, if a bear charges you, your best bet is often to play dead. This strategy is primarily for brown bears and grizzlies, not black bears. Curl up into a tight ball, protecting your head and neck with your arms. Lie on your stomach to protect your vital organs. Try to remain as still as possible. Even if the bear nudges you or swats at you, you must continue to play dead. Bears often stop attacking once they perceive the threat is gone, or that you are no longer a danger. It might feel like an eternity, but it's important to stay in this position for a good while, even after the bear seems to have left, as they sometimes circle back to check if you're really gone. Now, let's consider gorillas, the powerful kings of the jungle. Gorillas are generally peaceful animals, but they are fiercely protective of their family and territory. An attack from a gorilla is usually a defensive action, not an aggressive one. The key to avoiding an attack is to behave submissively and show that you are not a threat. If you find yourself in close proximity to a gorilla and it starts to display signs of agitation, like chest beating or loud vocalizations, it's crucial to react in a way that de-escalates the situation. One effective strategy is to make yourself appear smaller and less threatening. You can do this by sitting down slowly. This shows the gorilla that you are not trying to challenge it. Another important tip is to whisper. Speaking in a low, soft voice can help calm the situation, whereas loud noises might be interpreted as aggression. Crucially, avoid direct eye contact. In the animal kingdom, direct eye contact can often be seen as a challenge or a threat. You should lower your gaze, keeping the gorilla in your peripheral vision, but not staring directly at it. This communicates respect and submission. If, despite these efforts, a gorilla still approaches you or even attacks, your best defense is to curl into a tight ball, protecting your head and neck. Gorillas typically do not attack those they perceive as weak or non-threatening. They are more likely to inspect you and then move on once they realize you pose no danger. This is a terrifying prospect, but acting submissively is your best chance. Finally, let's talk about something much smaller, but equally capable of causing serious trouble. Bees. While a single bee sting is usually just an annoyance, encountering a swarm or disturbing a hive can be extremely dangerous, especially for those with allergies. Bees are highly protective of their hive and will sting if they feel threatened, even if you just happen to pass too close. An interesting fact about bees is that dark colors tend to attract them. This is because many of their natural predators, like bears, are dark-colored. So if you're in an area known for bees, wearing lighter clothing might offer a small advantage. If you find yourself being attacked by a swarm of bees, your priority is to get away quickly and find shelter. Running in a straight line or flailing your arms might not be the most effective strategy. Instead, try to hide in a dark place. Bees have difficulty seeing in the dark, and getting into a shaded area or even a dense thicket of bushes can help you lose them. If you can get inside a car or a building, that's even better. The goal is to break their line of sight and confuse them, giving you a chance to escape their pursuit. Do not try to swat at them, as this will only agitate them further and increase your chances of being stung multiple times. Just focus on getting to safety. We've covered a wide range of wild animal encounters, from the massive elephants and rhinos to the tiny but dangerous bees. Hopefully, you'll never have to use these tips in a real-life situation. The best defense against wild animal attacks is always prevention, researching the local wildlife before you travel, staying on marked paths, making noise to avoid surprising animals, and respecting their space. However, knowing what to do in an emergency can make all the difference. Share this video with your friends and family to help them stay safe too. We hope this information empowers you to explore the natural world with greater confidence and awareness. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate your likes and support. Stay safe out there.